The year was 2157. Earth had just joined the Galactic Federation 3 months ago. Humans were the newest members of a vast community of alien species, but they were not welcomed warmly by all. "They are so soft," said Commander Cool, leader of the Terok delegation. He looked down at the humans from his tall, muscular frame. His golden eyes narrowed as he spoke to his assistant. "I do not understand why the Federation accepted them." The Terok were cat-like aliens with strong bodies covered in short fur. They came from a planet with higher gravity than Earth. This made them naturally stronger than humans. The Terok were proud of their physical power and speed. In Seoul, Korea, a young woman named Gina Kim ran on a track. Sweat dripped down her face as she pushed herself harder. The coach looked at his timer and nodded. 10.62 seconds. "Good job, Gina. That's your best time yet." Gina bent over, catching her breath. At 19 years old, she was one of Earth's fastest sprinters. Years of hard training had made her quick and strong. She had almost qualified for the Olympics last year. She would definitely make it next time. "Coach Park," she said, standing up straight. "Did you hear back about the application?" Coach Park smiled. "I was waiting for the right time to tell you. You've been selected, Gina. You're going to represent Earth in the cultural exchange program." Gina's eyes grew wide. "Really? I'm going to space." "Not just space. You're going to the Terok homeworld. Their gravity is 1.3 times Earth's. Their air is thicker too. It will be hard on your body. But I think you can handle it." Gina couldn't believe it. Since she was a child, she had dreamed of meeting aliens. When first contact happened 5 years ago, she had watched the news for hours. Now she would be one of the first humans to visit an alien world. 2 weeks later, Gina sat nervously on the transport ship. Around her were 30 other humans chosen for the exchange. Scientists, artists, engineers, and a few athletes like her. They would live among the Terok for 6 months. A man in a formal suit sat down next to her. "First time in space?" he asked with a kind smile. "Yes," Gina answered. "I'm a little nervous. I'm Dahan from the diplomatic corps. I've been to 3 alien worlds so far." He offered his hand, and Gina shook it. "The Terok are interesting, very proud, very physical. They think humans are weak." "We're not weak," Gina said, frowning. "I know that. You know that. But the Terok only see our size. They're all built like professional wrestlers. Be careful around them. They like to challenge others." The journey took 5 days. When they arrived, Gina looked out the window at the Terok homeworld. It was beautiful, with purple oceans and red forests. The capital city sparkled with tall buildings. As they walked off the ship, Gina felt the difference right away. Her body felt heavy. Each step took more effort. The air was thick and smelled sweet, like cinnamon. A group of Terok waited for them. They stood 2 heads taller than the humans. Their leader stepped forward. "I am Commander Cool. Welcome to Terok Prime." His voice was deep and rumbling. He looked at the humans with barely hidden disappointment. "Thank you for hosting us," said the human ambassador. "We bring greetings from Earth." Commander Cool nodded slightly. "Come. We have prepared a welcome ceremony. You can rest your fragile bodies afterward." As they followed the Terok, Dai whispered to Gina, "See what I mean? They think we're weak." Gina watched the Terok walk. They moved with grace and power. Their muscles rippled under their fur. She understood why they might think humans were weak, but she knew better. Humans had their own strengths, and soon she would show them. The welcome ceremony was held in a large hall with high ceilings. The walls were covered with pictures of Terok warriors winning battles and races. Gina and the other humans sat at long tables. The chairs were too big for them. "How are you feeling?" Dai asked Gina. "The gravity here is tough on new visitors. My legs feel like they have weights on them," Gina said. "And I'm breathing harder than normal." "It will get easier," Daz said. But it takes time. Commander Cool stood at the front of the room. Today we welcome our new friends from Earth. He said the word friends as if it tasted bad in his mouth. They will learn about our superior culture and strength. Gina frowned. She did not like how Commander Cool talked about humans. To honor our guests, we will show them our greatest pride, the mighty Skistrider. The doors at the end of the hall opened. 2 Terok guards led in a creature on a strong chain. Gina's eyes grew wide. The animal looked like a mix between a cheetah and a panther, but much bigger. It had dark blue fur with silver spots. Its legs were long and powerful. Sharp teeth showed when it growled. Its eyes were bright yellow and full of wildness. This is a Skistrider, Commander Cool said with pride. The fastest creature in the known galaxy. We have made it even faster through careful breeding. Nothing can outrun a Skistrider. Not even the best Terok runners. The animal pulled at its chain, making the guards work hard to hold it back. It can run at speeds of 120 miles per hour for short distances, Commander Cool continued, and can maintain 80 miles per hour for over a minute. No being from any world has ever beaten a Skistrider in a fair race. He looked at the humans with a small smile. Perhaps our Earth friends would like to see what real speed looks like. We will hold a race in 3 weeks. Our champion Skistrider against, well, any human brave enough. The Terok in the room laughed. They clearly thought no human could ever compete with their animal. Commander, said the human ambassador carefully, we are here for peaceful exchange, not competition. Of course, Commander Cool said, but what better way to exchange knowledge than through demonstration? Unless humans are afraid to show their abilities. Gina felt anger rise in her chest. She knew the commander was trying to make humans look bad. She started to stand up, but Day grabbed her arm. Don't, he whispered. This is exactly what he wants. After the feast, Gina and Da walked back to their rooms in the human quarters. I could do it, Gina said. I could race against their animal. Gina, that thing is faster than any Earth animal. Even in Earth gravity, you couldn't beat it. And here, in heavier gravity, impossible. But what if I trained? What if I got used to the gravity? Day shook his head. 3 weeks is not enough time. And besides, one human losing a race is exactly what Commander Cool wants. It would make all humans look weak. But that night, Gina couldn't sleep. She kept thinking about the Skistrider and Commander Cool's smug face. She thought about all the humans watching, and all the aliens who thought humans were weak. The next morning, she went to the ambassador's office. I want to volunteer for the race, she said. Gina, I can't let you do that. The ambassador said, you would be embarrassed in front of the entire Terok world. Or I might surprise them, Gina said. I'm fast, very fast, and humans have something the Terok don't know about. Endurance. The ambassador looked at her for a long time. You really think you can do this? I need to try, Gina said. For all humans. Finally, the ambassador nodded. I'll tell Commander Cool. But we'll keep it secret from the other aliens until the race. If you change your mind, there's no shame in backing out. But Gina knew she wouldn't change her mind. She was going to race the fastest alien animal in the galaxy. The next morning, Gina woke up early. She put on her running clothes and went to the training area the ambassador had arranged for her. It was small, with a track that went around in a circle. The floor was made of a red material that felt like rubber. Gina started to run. After just 1 lap, she was breathing hard. Her legs hurt. The heavy gravity made every step difficult. She kept going but finished only 10 laps before she had to stop. On Earth, she could run 50 laps without getting tired. This is going to be harder than I thought, she said to herself. Of course it is, said a voice behind her. You're trying to do the impossible. Gina turned around. A young man with glasses stood there. He was Korean like her, but taller. I'm Hyun, he said. I'm a scientist studying alien biology. I'm Gina. I know who you are. Everyone is talking about the human girl who thinks she can beat a Skystrider. Hyun shook his head. It can't be done. Thanks for the support, Jinna said, frowning. I'm not trying to be mean, Hyun said. I'm just stating facts. The Skystrider is the result of thousands of years of breeding and genetic engineering. Its muscles are 3 times denser than a human's. Its heart is twice the size it should be for its body. So why are you here? Jinna asked. I'm curious, Hyun said. And I want to help, even though I think you're going to fail. Great, Jinna said. Just what I need. Someone who believes in me. Hyun smiled. I believe in science, and science says you're going to lose. But he pulled out a small device. This might help you lose by less. What is it? It measures your body's response to the gravity and atmosphere here. It will help me create a training program for you. For the next 3 days, Jinna trained while Hyun collected data. Each day, she could run a little longer before getting tired. On the 4th day, Hyun came with a new plan. The Taruk and their Skystrider have one weakness, he said. They're built for speed, not endurance. What do you mean? Jinna asked. Humans evolved as persistence hunters. We can't run as fast as many animals, but we can run for longer. We sweat to cool down. The Taruk and their Skystrider don't sweat. They overheat if they run too long. Jinna thought about this. So if I can just stay close enough during the first part of the race. Exactly, Hyun said. You might have a chance at the end, but you need to build up your strength in this gravity first. They created a new training plan. Jinna would run shorter distances but faster. Then she would do strength training to build her muscles. She also practiced running in special clothes that Hyun made. They helped her body stay cool. Meanwhile, Commander Cool had scientists watching Jinna's training. They reported back to him each day. The human female is adapting to our gravity faster than expected, one scientist said. Impossible, Commander Cool said. Humans are weak. This one is not so weak, the scientist said. She runs every day. She gets stronger. Commander Cool growled. It doesn't matter. No human can beat a Skystrider. Make sure our animal is in top condition. I want this victory to be complete. 2 weeks passed. Jinna could now run 30 laps without stopping. Her body had grown stronger. She was still not as fast as she was on Earth, but she was much faster than when she arrived. You've improved a lot, Hyun said, but the race is in 1 week. The Skystrider is still much faster than you. I know, Jinna said, but I have an idea. Can you show me everything you know about the Skystrider? I need to understand exactly how it runs. Hyun nodded. I'll get all the data. But Jinna, even with all this training, the odds are still against you. Jinna looked at him with determination in her eyes. Then I'll just have to beat the odds. Hyun's room was filled with screens showing charts and pictures of the Skystrider. Jinna sat on a chair, looking at all the information. The Skystrider has been bred for short bursts of extreme speed, Hyun explained. It can reach 120 miles per hour in just 3 seconds. That's faster than any human could ever run, Jinna said, feeling worried. Yes, but look at this. Hyun pointed to a chart. After about 30 seconds at top speed, the Skystrider's body temperature rises too high. It has to slow down, or it will overheat. Jinna leaned forward. So it can't maintain its top speed for long. Exactly. The Taruk don't know much about human physiology. They've never seen what happens when a human pushes their limits. What do you mean? Hyun smiled. Humans are the endurance champions of the galaxy. Our bodies cool down by sweating. We can regulate our temperature better than any other species. The Taruk and their Skystrider don't sweat. They pant like dogs to cool down, which isn't very efficient during exercise. This was good news. Jinna felt hope growing inside her. There's more, Hyun said. I checked the racetrack. It's 400 meters long. The race will be 3 laps, So 1,200 meters total. Gina did the math. If the skist rider can only maintain top speed for 30 seconds, it will have to slow down for the last lap. Hyun finished. That's your chance. The next day, Dai came to watch Gina train. He looked worried. Do you know what's happening? He asked. The Terek media is talking about the race nonstop. They're calling it the humbling of humanity. That doesn't sound good, Gina said. It's not. Commander Cool is using this race to show everyone that humans are weak. If you lose badly, it could affect how all aliens treat humans for years. So no pressure, Gina said, trying to joke. I'm serious, Gina. Maybe we should call this off. Gina shook her head. No. I need to do this. Not just for me, but for all humans. That evening, Gina and Hyun watched videos of the skist rider running. Its blue body moved like lightning, legs a blur as it ran. It's beautiful, Gina said. And deadly, Hyun added. Its claws are retracted when it runs, but it could tear apart a human if it wanted to. Will it be safe during the race? Gina asked, suddenly worried. They'll put a muzzle on it, and they keep it well fed before races so it's not hunting. Gina nodded, relieved. How fast do you think I can run here now? Hyun checked his data. In Earth gravity, your top speed is about 23 miles per hour. Here, with all your training, maybe 18 miles per hour. That's not even close to the skist rider's speed. No, but remember, you can maintain your speed longer. The skist rider will start very fast, but if you can stay in the race, you might catch up at the end. Gina tried to imagine it. The skist rider would leave her far behind at the start. Everyone would laugh at the slow human. But if she could just keep running strong. The next morning, aliens from other worlds began arriving to watch the race. News had spread throughout the Galactic Federation. Everyone wanted to see the skist rider race against a human. Look at them all, Daz said as he and Gina watched ships landing. Representatives from at least 12 different species. Why do they care so much? Gina asked. Because this is about more than just a race. It's about where humans stand in the galactic community. Are we respected? Or are we just the weak new species? Gina felt the weight of responsibility on her shoulders. She was no longer running just for herself. She was running for all of humanity. 3 days until the race, Hyun said, joining them. Are you ready? Gina took a deep breath. As ready as I'll ever be. Commander Cool watched the video of Gina training. His yellow eyes narrowed as he saw her run faster than the day before. She was getting stronger. This was not according to plan. How is this possible? He asked the scientist next to him. She is adapting too quickly. Humans are more resilient than we thought, the scientist said. Her muscles are getting used to our gravity. Commander Cool growled. This cannot continue. The race must show that humans are weak. It is the only way to keep our high status in the Galactic Federation. What do you want us to do, Commander? Commander Cool thought for a moment. Then he smiled, showing his sharp teeth. Make her training more difficult. That night, when no one was around, 2 Terek workers entered the human training area. They adjusted the gravity controls for that room only. Now, instead of 1.3 times Earth gravity, the room would be 1.5 times Earth gravity. They also changed the air mix to make it thinner, with less oxygen. The next morning, Gina arrived for her training as usual. As soon as she started running, she felt different. Her legs were heavier. Her chest hurt as she tried to breathe. Something's wrong, she gasped, stopping after just half a lap. Hyun checked his instruments. That's strange. The gravity seems stronger today, and the air has less oxygen. Is it broken? Gina asked. Maybe, or maybe. Hyun looked around carefully, then lowered his voice. Maybe someone changed it on purpose. Why would anyone do that? To make sure you lose the race. Gina tried to run again, but it was too hard. Her legs felt like they were made of stone. After just 2 laps, she collapsed onto the track. Pain shot through her ankle. Gina. Hyun ran to her side. Are you okay? Gina tried to stand up but fell back down. My ankle. I think I twisted it. Hyun examined her ankle. It was already swelling up. This is bad. You can't run on this. I have to, Gina said. The race is in 2 days. Not with a sprained ankle, you can't. Day found out about Gina's injury an hour later. He stormed into Commander Cool's office, his face red with anger. You did this, he said. You changed the training room settings. Commander Cool looked at him calmly. That is a serious accusation, human. Do you have proof? No, but I know it was you. You're afraid she might actually win, aren't you? Commander Cool laughed. A human beat a Skystrider. Impossible. Why would I need to cheat? Then let me check the control logs for the training room. Unfortunately, there was a system reset last night. All logs were erased. Commander Cool smiled. How? Unfortunate. Day clenched his fists but said nothing more. He knew he couldn't prove anything. Back in the human quarters, Hyun was treating Gina's ankle. He put a special gel on it that reduced the swelling. This should help, he said. But you really shouldn't run on it for at least a week. I don't have a week, Gina said. I have less than 2 days. Then you should withdraw from the race. There's no shame in it. Everyone will understand when they learn about your injury. No, Gina said firmly. That's exactly what Commander Cool wants. He hurt me on purpose so I would quit. You can't prove that, Hyun said. I don't need to prove it. I just need to beat him and his Skystrider. Gina tried to stand up. Pain shot through her ankle, but she forced herself to take a step. Then another. It hurt, but she could walk. See, I can do this. Hyun shook his head. Walking is one thing. Running at top speed is another. I'll find a way, Gina said. I have to. That night, Gina couldn't sleep. Her ankle throbbed with pain. Doubts filled her mind. How could she race with an injured ankle? How could she beat the fastest creature in the galaxy when she could barely walk? But then she remembered why she was doing this. For Earth. For all humans. To show that they belonged in the Galactic Federation. I will not give up, she whispered to herself. I will find a way. The day before the race, the Terra capital city was full of excitement. Aliens from all over the galaxy walked the streets. They talked about the upcoming race. Signs and screens everywhere showed pictures of the Skystrider with its blue fur and powerful legs. Next to it was a small picture of Gina, looking weak and tiny compared to the alien animal. Place your bets. Place your bets, shouted vendors in the main square. Skystrider versus the human. One alien with green skin and 4 arms looked at the betting board. What are the odds? He asked. 500 to 1 against the human, said the betting vendor with a laugh. Easy money if you bet on the Skystrider. In her room, Gina sat on her bed while Hyun checked her ankle. The special gel had helped, but it still hurt when she put weight on it. The swelling is down, Hyun said, but it's still not good. Can I run on it? Gina asked. You can try, but it will be painful. And you won't be at your full speed. Gina nodded. I have to try. Too many people are counting on me. Just then, there was a knock on the door. Dai entered with a small box. I got something that might help, he said. He opened the box to show a pair of special running shoes. They were silver with blue lines running through them. What are these? Gina asked. Support shoes. They're made with alien technology that helps stabilize joints. They might make your ankle hurt less when you run. Gina took the shoes and put them on. They fit perfectly and seemed to hug her feet with gentle pressure. When she stood up, her ankle still hurt, but less than before. Thank you, she said to Da. These will help. I also brought you this, Da said, handing her a small device. It's a direct link to Earth. You can call your coach if you want. Gina smiled and took the device. When Dai and Hyun left to give her privacy, She called Coach Park. His face appeared on the small screen. He looked worried. "Gina, I heard about the race. And your injury. Are you okay?" "I'm managing," Gina said. "But I'm nervous, Coach. The ski strider is so fast. And now with my ankle." "Listen to me, Gina," Coach Park said firmly. "Speed isn't everything in a race. Remember your training. Pace yourself. Let the ski strider get ahead at first. Use your endurance. But what if I'm too far behind? The ski strider is much faster than me, especially now. Then use your head. Find its weakness. Every runner has a weakness." After talking to her coach, Gina felt a little better. She lay back on her bed, thinking about the race tomorrow. Outside her window, she could hear aliens talking excitedly as they passed by. Later that evening, Gina, Dai, and Hyun walked to the race stadium to see it before the big day. It was huge, bigger than any stadium on Earth. It could hold over 100,000 spectators. "They're expecting a full crowd tomorrow," Daz said. "Every seat will be filled." "Great," Gina said. "So when I lose, 100,000 aliens will see it happen." "You're not going to lose," Hyun said. To Gina's surprise, Hyun sounded confident. "I've been looking at more data. The ski strider has a pattern when it runs. It always slows down at the same point in the race, right after the 40-second mark." "How much does it slow down?" Gina asked. "By about 30%. That's your window. If you can stay close enough until then, you might catch up." As they walked back to their quarters, they passed a group of Terok. One of them pointed at Gina and said something in their language. The others laughed. "What did he say?" Gina asked Da, who knew some of the Terok language. "You don't want to know," Daz said. "Yes, I do." Day sighed. He said, "There goes the human who thinks she can run." Then he said something about how slow and weak you look. Gina nodded, her face showing no emotion. Inside, though, she used the insult to fuel her determination. "Tomorrow," she said quietly. "Tomorrow they'll see what a human can do." Race day arrived. The stadium was packed with aliens of all shapes and sizes. They filled every seat, creating a sea of different colors. The noise was deafening as they talked and shouted, waiting for the race to begin. Gina stood in the preparation room, stretching carefully. Her ankle still hurt, but the special shoes Dad had given her helped a lot. She wore a blue running suit with Earth written on the back in large white letters. "How are you feeling?" Hyun asked, checking her vital signs with a small device. "Nervous," Gina admitted, "but ready." "Remember the plan," Hyun said. "Don't try to keep up with the ski strider at the start. Save your energy for the final lap." Day entered the room, looking worried. "The stadium is full. Even the Galactic Federation Council members are here to watch." "No pressure," Gina said with a small smile. A Terok official came to the door. "It's time," he said. Gina took a deep breath and nodded. She followed the official through a long tunnel leading to the track. The roar of the crowd grew louder with each step. When she stepped onto the track, the noise hit her like a physical force. Thousands of aliens were watching her. Some pointed. Others laughed. She was the only human in the stadium except for Dai, Hyun, and the Earth Ambassador, who sat in a special section. At the other end of the track, another door opened. Commander Cool walked out, holding his head high. Behind him came two Terok handlers leading the ski strider on strong chains. The crowd went wild at the sight of the blue animal. It was even more impressive up close. Its muscles rippled under its sleek fur. Its yellow eyes looked fierce. It wore a light muzzle, but Gina could still see its sharp teeth. Commander Cool raised his hands, and the crowd grew quiet. "Today," he said, his voice booming across the stadium, "we will see a demonstration of speed and power. Our mighty ski strider will race against—" He paused, looking at Gina with a small smile. "The human." Many in the crowd laughed. Gina kept her face calm, though inside she felt a surge of anger. The race will be 3 laps of our track, for a total distance of 1,200 meters, Commander Cool continued. Let the competitors take their positions. Gina walked to the starting line. The handlers brought the Skistrider next to her. Up close, the animal was even more intimidating. It stood as tall as Gina's chest, its muscles tense and ready to run. One of the handlers whispered to Gina, "Don't feel bad when you lose, human. No one can beat a Skistrider." Gina didn't reply. She focused on the track ahead, remembering her training and Coach Park's advice. A Terok official stepped forward with a starting device in his hand. Runners ready. Gina bent down into her starting position, feeling a sharp pain in her ankle. She ignored it. The Skistrider crouched next to her, its body like a coiled spring. Set. The crowd grew quiet, 100,000 aliens holding their breath. Go. A loud sound rang out, and a race began. The Skistrider exploded forward with incredible speed. In just 3 seconds, it was already 20 meters ahead of Gina. The crowd roared as the blue animal raced around the track. Gina ran as fast as she could, but the Skistrider kept pulling ahead. By the time it finished the first lap, it was half a track ahead of her. "The human is already falling behind," announced the race commentator. As expected, the Skistrider is proving its superiority. Gina kept running, ignoring the pain in her ankle and the burning in her lungs. The crowd's laughter and cheers for the Skistrider filled her ears. She was so far behind that some aliens were already celebrating the Skistrider's victory. Commander Cool watched with a satisfied smile. "See," he said to the Earth ambassador. "This is why humans don't belong in the Galactic Federation. You are too weak." But what no one noticed was that Gina was pacing herself carefully. And as the Skistrider began its third and final lap, something strange happened. Its pace began to slow. The Skistrider was starting to slow down. Its breathing became heavy and labored. Its body was hot from running so fast for so long. Exactly as Hyun had predicted, after 40 seconds of top speed, the animal began to tire. At first, no one in the crowd noticed. They were still cheering for the Skistrider, still laughing at the human who was so far behind. But Hyun noticed. He watched his timer and nodded to himself. "Come on, Gina," he whispered. "Now is your time." Gina felt the pain in her ankle with every step, but she kept her pace steady. She had saved her energy while the Skistrider had used most of its power in the first 2 laps. Now, as she began the final lap, she increased her speed. The Skistrider was still ahead, but it was not pulling away anymore. In fact, the gap between them was starting to close. Slowly at first, then more quickly, Gina began to catch up. Some aliens in the crowd stopped cheering. They looked confused. This was not supposed to happen. The human was supposed to fall further behind, not get closer. "What's happening?" Commander Cool demanded, leaning forward in his seat. "Why is the Skistrider slowing down?" "It appears to be overheating, sir," his scientist said nervously. "The race has gone on longer than we expected due to the humans' unexpected endurance. Make it run faster." Commander Cool ordered. "We can't control its biology, sir. It needs to cool down, or it could collapse." The Skistrider's handlers shouted and waved, trying to urge the animal to speed up. But the Skistrider was already giving everything it had. Its powerful body was covered in heat, its breaths coming in gasps. Meanwhile, Gina found her rhythm. The pain in her ankle faded to the back of her mind. She focused only on running, on each step taking her closer to the Skistrider. "The human is gaining ground," the race announcer said, surprise clear in his voice. "This is unexpected." The crowd grew quieter. Many aliens stopped laughing and started watching more carefully. Some even began to cheer for Gina, impressed by her determination. Halfway through the final lap, Gina was only 20 meters behind the Skistrider. The blue animal looked back, seemingly shocked to see the human so close. It tried to speed up, but its body couldn't respond. It was too hot, too tired. "Keep going," Gina, Dai shouted from the stands. You can do it. Hyun checked his monitoring device. Her body temperature is stable, he said to Dai. The cooling system in her suit is working perfectly, and humans are built for this kind of endurance running. The gap continued to close. 15 meters, 10 meters, 5 meters. The crowd was nearly silent now, watching in disbelief as the human runner came even with the mighty Skistrider. Commander Cool stood up, his face a mask of anger and shock. This is impossible, he growled. But it was happening. With 100 meters left in the race, Gina pulled even with the Skystrider. For a moment, they ran side by side. The sleek, blue alien animal and the small human girl. The Skistrider looked at Gina with its yellow eyes. There seemed to be a new emotion there, respect. It gave everything it had, pushing its tired body to the limit. But it was not enough. Gina thought about Earth. She thought about all humans who were counting on her. She thought about Commander Cool's smug face and all the aliens who had laughed at her. With these thoughts filling her mind, she found one last burst of energy. She pushed forward, her legs moving faster despite the pain. And then something amazing happened. Gina pulled ahead of the Skistrider. A gasp went through the stadium. Even the race announcer was speechless for a moment. The human is in the lead, he finally said, his voice filled with disbelief. The human is actually in the lead. With just 50 meters to go, Gina Kim from Earth was running faster than the fastest creature in the known galaxy. The final 50 meters stretched before Gina. Her lungs burned. Her legs ached. Her injured ankle sent sharp pain with every step. But she did not slow down. She could hear the Skistrider behind her, its breathing heavy as it tried to catch up. The stadium was so quiet now that Gina could hear her own heartbeat. Thousands of alien eyes watched in disbelief as the human runner stayed ahead of their mighty Skistrider. 10 meters from the finish line, Gina heard the Skistrider make one final push. She could feel it getting closer. With everything she had left, Gina pushed herself forward, leaning toward the finish line. And then she crossed it, 3 steps ahead of the Skistrider. For a moment, there was complete silence in the huge stadium. No one moved. No one spoke. It was as if time itself had stopped. Then, from the human section, Doug jumped to his feet. She did it, he shouted. His voice broke the spell. The stadium erupted with noise. Most aliens were shouting in confusion and surprise. Some were cheering for Gina. Others were arguing with each other about what they had just seen. Gina slowed to a stop, her chest heaving, as she tried to catch her breath. The Skistrider stopped too, its blue sides rising and falling rapidly. The animal's handlers rushed to cool it down with sprays of water. Commander Cool stood frozen in his seat, his mouth open, his eyes wide with shock. This was not supposed to happen. A human was not supposed to beat their greatest runner. Dae and Hyun ran to Gina, huge smiles on their faces. You did it, Hyun said, checking her vital signs with his device. You actually did it. How do you feel? Dae asked. Tired, Gina said with a small smile. Very, very tired. The race official approached with a confused look on his face. He clearly didn't know what to do. This situation had never happened before. The winner, he announced hesitantly, is the human, Gina Kim of Earth. More cheers came from the small human section. The Earth ambassador stood tall, pride on his face. One by one, aliens began to approach Gina. They looked at her with new eyes, not with mockery, but with respect and curiosity. How did you do it? One asked. How did a small human outrun our Skistrider? Before Gina could answer, Commander Cool pushed through the crowd. His face was dark with anger. This proves nothing, he growled. It was just one race. Humans are still weak compared to the Tarok. Gina looked at him calmly. We may not be as strong or as fast in short bursts, she said, but humans have endurance. We keep going when others have to stop. That is our strength. An elder member of the Galactic Federation Council stepped forward. "The human speaks wisdom," he said. "Each species has its own strengths. Today we have learned something new about humans." Over the next few days, videos of the race spread throughout the galaxy. Aliens everywhere watched in amazement as the small human girl caught up to and passed the mighty Skistrider. In meeting rooms and homes across the galaxy, opinions about humans began to change. They were no longer seen as just the weak new species. They were now known for their remarkable endurance and determination. A week later, as the human delegation prepared to return to Earth, Commander Cool approached Gina. His face was serious, but the anger was gone. "You have brought honor to your species," he said formally. "The Terok recognize your achievement. We would like to offer you an honorary position in our athletics program." "Thank you," Gina said, surprised by the offer. "But I think I'll go home to Earth for now. There are many more humans like me there, perhaps even faster ones." Commander Cool's eyes widened slightly at this thought. As their ship left Terok Prime, Gina looked out at the stars. She had come to prove that humans belonged in the galaxy. Now everyone knew it. "Ready to go home?" Dai asked, sitting next to her. Gina nodded. "Yes, but I think this is just the beginning for humans in space." And as their ship accelerated toward Earth, news of Gina's victory traveled even faster across the galaxy, forever changing how aliens viewed the human species.